Oh, we're good. Oh, hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
that's what
Hi.
happens after one.
Well, I lost it there for a second. Hi, welcome, tabletop players. My name is Ruin Ortega, and in tonight's episode, I am your keeper of arcane lore because we're playing Call of Cthulhu by Chaosium in the campaign known as the Society. And I'm joined with all of these lovely people. We are missing one tonight. Sly was unfortunately unable to make it.
She's got the vid.
She's what?
She got
She's
the
got
vid.
the vid.
She's got the vid. Everybody's got the vid at this point, really. That's what happens.
I'm just saying,
I'm-
if I had the vid, I would still be here.
Listen, I
Depends
had
on
the
how
vid
bad I
and I
was
did your show.
Yep.
Yep.
Actually, you have done my show multiple times sick.
No.
Yeah, I think there's been
What,
fluids
food
flying out of
poisoning
both
or
ends.
something, didn't you?
It was
There was one
COVID.
where you like
Oh,
had to
okay.
poop real bad, and then
Oh, was that COVID that time?
I
you
feel
had
like
like
you
food
said it.
poisoning or something.
I thought
It
you were
was no
puking
food.
one.
Food poisoning for prep or die.
I
It
thought you were
was
puking
prep or
once and
die,
it was-
and it was COVID. And I was like, all of a sudden, just had to puke and shit my
buddy.
brains out. And so I kept turning the camera off and running
Sorry.
to the washroom because I couldn't let you guys down.
We call that the green apple splatters.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was brutal, and the next day I was like hugging the toilet for dear life, and yep, turned
Oh,
out I was
buddy.
positive for COVID. I don't know what other time you're talking about, but now that I've, embarrassed myself on the
It's all
internet
blurred
again,
together.
it all blurs together. Ruin's just a sick dude. Well, with that note, here are my lovely-ish guests tonight.
Ish.
Yeah, let's start out with my co-host Cade. Cade, tell us about your character tonight.
Hi, I'm Cade. I'm playing Charles Montgomery. He's a journalist, and he's seen some shit, and it feels a certain way about it. Sandy's not in a great spot.
Yeah, I feel like Charles is holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
You know who else is holding on for their dear life is our good friend James Harrington II, played by Jeremy. Jeremy, tell us about James.
James is a pussy. I would like to say he's tough. He's not. When I made him, I thought he was going to be tough. He's not tough. He's not tough. He's been through wars, and he's seen some stuff, and now he's just shattered. He's coveting a statue. Statue
Yeah.
implies it's bigger. What should we call that?
It's a
lot-
what do they call it? A
and-
boss relief.
I was going to say a Cthulhu action figure.
Oh, does it have opposable thumbs?
I don't know.
Real
I don't
shooting
know.
action?
He has a statuette that he's coveting, and then last episode he started cutting himself. So what could go wrong?
I'm sure everything will be fine.
Sure,
A lot, but we'll get there.
a lot. Mm-hmm.
It's Call of Cthulhu. There's always room for awfulness. Yeah, but
I'm leaning in.
what's not awful is Dr. Dottie Hamilton, played by Affy. Affy, tell us about Dr. Dottie Hamilton.
Dr. Dottie Hamilton is a forensic pathologist,
She's a bitch.
basically a coroner, and a little bit of a bitch, a little bit crazy. She too fought during the Great War, and didn't fight, but she fought stupid soldiers to keep them down on their beds, as she worked as a nurse. And
Oh, thank you for clarifying.
I mean,
I thought you
there
were
are
working in the
certain things
morale
that men will pay
division.
for. No, I wasn't part of the USO shows.
Okay, fine.
It was all about the nursing, and when she returned home, she went to medical school, and went into forensic science. Now finds herself as part of the society as the crazy one.
And strangely enough, she seems to be the one that really is gunning that they have to do this whole, society facade, and yet suffers zero of the long-term impacts. She almost died, but her sanity is intact, so good for her.
When you work in forensics, you see some shit, and it kind of skews your worldview on what humanity is capable of. So I think seeing this weird cultist shit, it's just Probably.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And then, of
Humans are
course,
terrible people.
we also have everyone's favorite socialite, the great 1920s actress Emma Reynolds, played by Artemis.
Yeah, I'm Emma, and I'm from Texas, and she's Daddy's girl, and she left pretty much everything behind in LA to come hang out with these weirdos, and yeah,
Makes no sense.
I refuse to be the group mom this time around.
Sure.
No, I say that every time I say that. It's fine.
She did invite a guy in who claimed he had seen what they had done to some house in Providence, Rhode Island. So, you know, might already be leaning in that group mom direction.
You know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Don't you
It's
know?
fine.
Well, in our last session, our characters returned to Providence, Rhode Island 1 year after the, fated encounter with aquatic monstrosities, after which they blew up the den, hopefully. And they faced a different kind of terror. And this was a boarder in a boarding house who appeared to be mysteriously unalived, should we say, in a sense. It was very difficult to tell the circumstances, and by the end, they decided that it definitely was something awful, as the corpse decided to rise and try to kill them. The episode ended with James taking the body without saying a word, putting it in the back of their car, and them all driving back to the observatory that they have taken up residence for the headquarters of their society. And from there, each character spent a little bit of time.
I think we also took their gay lover and the kid that lives there,
Yes.
and they're now our servants.
I wouldn't say servants. I mean, that seems a little, indentured.
Employees.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Well, and that was Abner
Employees.
Foss. Yeah, they're employees. They work for the society.
Fine. I don't think we ever discussed a paycheck, but let's go on.
Well, Abner Foss and his son, they realized that after seeing what they did, they didn't know if they could go back to the regular life, as it were. And realistically, I mean, that's a sentiment that several of you have echoed. Charles himself has been heard as saying that, after seeing what he had been through, he didn't think he could go back to just an everyday journalism without knowing, what's out there. And pursuing that lifestyle. And even Dottie herself admitted that, she's heard rumblings of cults and things forever, and perhaps now they're closer to whatever those things are up to. So it felt very much at home for the society, should we say. And then, of course, yes, we ended on the pin drop moment of James cutting spirals into his leg. And yet, that wasn't shared with anybody. That was a very private moment that nobody else knows about. Every character had kind of, alluded to actions they wanted to take going forward. And so in the spirit of honoring those actions, tonight's episode is going to take place over the course of roughly 4 months. In that time, each one of our characters is going to have a little bit of a spotlight on them as they peruse things that they want to do. I made contact with everybody between episodes just to make sure, like, hey, what is it that you're looking to do with your character? What direction are you headed? And they all told me. And some of it is private between those that I talked with, and some of it will be very public, as we'll act out tonight. And then, of course, in the last half, we're going to sow the seeds for a future direction. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into things. We're going to say that we take up exactly the day after all of the previous episodes' events went down, and we're going to play this out over 4 months, starting with Dr. Dottie Hamilton. So, Afi, over the past 24 hours, what has Dottie been thinking about? What's been coming to her mind as she has brought back the corpse of James Gardner?
Well, she completed the autopsy. It didn't rest until the autopsy was completed. there was a certain manner of manic hyperfixation as she completed and just investigated everything from, odd levels in the blood to, maybe the brain was overweight or underweight to, the status of the heart. Um, and she took very thorough pictures and diagrams of all of the markings. Uh, so, like, she would have had on an autopsy sheet where they have the pictures of the silhouettes of the bodies, and then they mark off where everything is. She's got a couple of those that have like the actual drawings of the markings on them. The
Let's
pictures
go ahead.
themselves, she would have developed, obviously not taken them anywhere but I'm assuming we would have like a dark room of sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and walk through some of this. So let's
Sure.
start with the autopsy. Now you have a autopsy skill. Do you know forensics?
I do.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead, and you can give me a roll. We're gonna start out with that. So go ahead and roll your autopsy.
Would help if I had my dice out. 1 second.
Rookie.
The entire time that this was going on, Emma was like down there and kept going and getting coffee and coming back just because it made Dottie mad.
Okay, so that is the middle one, the hard success.
Hard success.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you mentioned wanting to really take detail of these markings. So before we take a picture of them, and we will have to roll for that as well, what we're going to do is we are going to... sorry, I'm just trying to move something on my tablet here. The very first thing that she notices is what we had iterated before, that they start at the feet and work their ways up the length of the body. There's small spirals, of course, on the feet, and as they get up to the head, the final one on the head works its way from the crown all the way down to the neck. The ones on the feet, you can tell, are much older. They were started at a previous time, whereas the ones further up the body are obviously much newer, much fresher. Of course, the last one appears to be what actually killed him. You can tell that his death was blood loss from this wound. You had also noted that along the neck, the cut was a lot more jagged and uncertain, almost like there was a hesitancy before all of a sudden just a brutalization of the last part. It's not quite as clean as the rest. I'm going to have you give me a psychology roll with that.
I failed, but only by 3, so I'm going to spend 3 luck to push it to just a regular success.
Okay. You begin to wonder if it's as if he didn't want to do that final step. Judging by how deep the ones up top before his neck are compared to this, they're a lot thinner, and they're a lot more shallow, and they are definitely cleaner. So it strikes you as odd that very near the end, they're very deep and very rough. Like, again, like he didn't want to, and it was forced through.
I know we talked about this a little bit, but it was just sort of like a preliminary look over. Does it seem like he was the one that actually did it?
You can
Like with the
tell.
stuttering marks and everything?
Um, you can tell that it was held by his hand. It's at the right angle for it to have been held at his hand. But you're definitely wondering if he was alone in that venture. Did someone else force him by holding his hand? Did something else do it? Furthermore, you recall that the being that rose from the corpse was very monstrous, and you wonder if that had something to do with it.
Right.
The other thing that you notice is that his blood is discolored. It's leaning more towards a brown palette rather than the traditional, vibrant red that should while he's alive. Of course, it will have discolored slightly just from that, but it's even a stranger color than you would expect.
Is there like a typical sling of like plasma and the proteins, or
It doesn't appear to be like the breakdown hasn't quite started.
right? And his liver was and his like hotter than normal.
Yes.
What the hell?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
where are the markings? I need to know this. Now, on to the insect.
Cheap up on a Thursday.
What? Come on!
I need to know. I need to know.
I hadn't thought about this. Yeah, sure. We got no mutilation in there.
Where do I send an email to your kick?
All feedback can be
Guys,
sent to.
I'm human resources.
All feedback can be sent to no one's listening at gmail.com.
No.
If you had also noticed that the cuttings had appeared to be 48 hours old around that time, and yet his temperature was much, much hotter than that. Like it should not have added up that way. If he had been dead for 48 hours, his body should have cooled off.
Right. And sorry, was it just this one, the throat one, that was 48 hours, or was it all of them?
The head one was
The
48
head
hours.
one. Okay.
Yeah, the other ones were in various degrees of healing.
Right. Were they deep enough that they should have required like stitching, or were they just surface?
The average person probably would have, but again, they were cutting spirals into themselves, right? So, it's a fair degree of mutilation.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
All
The
right.
last-
Well, that's the outside.
Yeah, well, the last thing you notice about the body itself is that his finger and toenails appear to be thickened and more of a claw-like shape.
So,
Mad cat.
like the actual density of them is thicker,
Hmm.
and they're longer.
More pointed. They would be, yeah, slightly longer. Not necessarily like somebody couldn't grow them out to that length, but you know, when people grow out their nails, they still tend to have that dull rounding to them, whereas this has obvious points that have been growing.
I perform a handectomy.
Is that the technical
Yeah.
term?
Maybe.
Are you looking to be careful with it? Like, are you looking to
Yeah.
do preservation?
Meticulous about it. So I'm like on the edges of the nail bed and going down like this to kind of excise where the nail would start growing, and then investigate it from there.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me a medical roll? Or medicine.
We're checking to see how good a hand job she's giving. Is that what we're...
That is a hard success with 29.
So, you
Sorry,
have a
I
great
deal
hand.
with horror by rude humor, apparently.
Sorry.
I won't lie to you. Fingernails is part of my icks. So,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. I deal with my icks real well. Yeah, you peel back the skin with the sharpest scalpel you can manage, and grab a pair of very, very thin pliers and lift them up. They're thicker through and through. The nail bed itself is almost like it comes further down under the surface. It doesn't quite attach to the bone or anything like that, but it is definitely... give me a natural world roll.
Yeah. No, that's a fail.
Fail?
Yeah.
It's it would be very uncommon to see humans have this kind of nail bedding.
Right.
Seems very primitive.
Okay. I just noted it all down in a file for this poor fellow.
I'll leave you with that information for a bit.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go on to Charles.
Yay.
Charles, it's been, just under 24 hours since you all arrived back home. How have you been filling your time?
Um, I think Charles has been because we established that because he's lost so much sanity, he's now afraid of being left alone. He's been spending his time kind of like keeping tabs on the comings and goings of people from the observatory, just so no one can like go to get cigarettes and never come back. And yeah, just kind of like making sure he knows where everybody is, but also taking some time to check through newspaper articles and like academic journals and things like that, looking for anything that kind of sounds culty or supernatural or out of the ordinary. Anything that might be like our next job, I guess, or anything that might kind of explain the things that they've been seeing, that kind of thing.
Okay, let's go ahead and we'll deal with the watching of the comings and goings after, because we'll come back to it once we've actually gone through everybody. That way you have a better idea of what you might have seen. But let's deal with the searching for other cult-like dealings and things like that. So where would Charles be most likely to try and look for that information?
For like academic journals and stuff, like I feel like probably the library. He would go and look for anything that might have been published that way, and then he would just kind of keep on top of the newspapers as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and would he go to like the public library or the Miskatonic University library?
I feel like he'd probably go university, just because he's looking for more an explanation of what is happening than just reporting. Yeah, they see lights over the lake. Woo!
Let me just see here. So Charles visits the Miskatonic University library. He begins perusing. Does he ask somebody for help, or does he just kind of begin digging in?
I think he would probably ask for like a general location of like, hey, where's your like journals on natural phenomena or like something like that, and then from there look into the specifics on his own. I don't think he would want to bring too much attention to himself, but he also doesn't want to waste his time sitting through an entire library on his own.
Okay. I'm going to gamify this a bit, Cade.
Alright.
So, I'm going to ask you for a library roll. Because you asked for somebody to give you some help, I'm going to give you a bonus die on it. And depending on your level of success, will allow you to ask me a certain number of specific questions for information.
Okay. Do I have specific questions? Oh.
They might be non-specific. You have 3 questions,
So I just got a regular success.
Okay, so I will allow you to ask me 2 specific questions for information that you're looking for.
Are there any cults or societies operating in the area that are known to be connected to some of the things we're seeing?
Ours. You don't find
other than ours. We're not a cult.
Are we?
Find. I think we're very culty, really. You don't find a lot in Arkham directly. You find a lot of rumors about different ones. So you hear about the Louisiana swamp cult, and you hear about. Let's see here. The Elevated Order of Morpheus.
Much better name than the swamp cult.
The swamp cult knows how to party.
Oh yeah, but that's all they know how to do.
Ain't no party like a swamp cult party.
Swamp cult party don't stop.
You hear about the Society of the Angelic Ones.
I bet they're totally on the up and up.
Yep, angelic. It's in the name.
Yeah. And then you also hear about the Esoteric Order of Dagon.
So you know you're good when you know that you're esoteric. Put in your name.
Out of character for a second, didn't we hear of that one already? I feel like that one's come up before.
I know out of character I've heard of Dagon a lot from playing Call of Cthulhu, but I don't know if I've heard it in character for this game. I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't think I've given you anything on it, but very possible.
We've already established that my brain pushes things together that it shouldn't. So
Dude's crazy.
it's crazy. It's so crazy.
Oh, and sorry, there is one last one, and that was the Church of Perfect Science.
There's a name for you.
Do people happen to go clear in this church?
Maybe.
Second question.
Yeah.
Is there any mention in any great significance of Cthulhu?
Every one of them.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a it's the ramblings of somebody who was arrested, and that's the only word they could say. It does appear like in several of them, it's talked about some sort of strange statue that's mysteriously disappeared.
But never two strange statues. We have both.
Very possible.
Okay.
It happened 2 times.
Which is
Kate, go
weird.
ahead and
Not
have
a lot.
Charles give me a spot hidden roll.
Hard success. Or no, sorry, extreme success.
As Charles is studying away and he's found these connections to these, I believe, 5 cults, he notices that there appears to be some sort of sectioned off area. And there's a sign that says faculty only. But you can tell that there's lots of books behind there.
Oh, he's sneaking in.
Go ahead and give me a stealth roll.
Oh, I'm stealthy as shit. That is a hard success. Exactly, a hard success.
Charles looks around. It's, mid-afternoon. Not too busy. A lot of people are in classes. And he manages to sneak in under the velvet rope and finds himself in what is a incredibly ancient part of this library. The books can only be described as tomes and manuscripts and parchments.
Do I see anything, I don't know, Cthulhu on the spine, or like on the cover a depiction of like the statue, or anything that would lead me to believe that it's connected? Because otherwise it's just a bunch of books and I could be reading about the Louisiana Purchase or something.
You don't see that, but give me an appraise roll.
Oh, how appraisy am I? Oh, super not appraisy. Yeah, not even close.
Your gut tells you that these books are very old, and that they don't look normal. They don't look like normal books, most of these things.
Okay. I follow my gut and grab whatever one happens to kind of stand out to me, and quickly flip through it. We'll also like keep an eye over my shoulder to see if anybody's coming.
Sure, give me a luck roll.
Regular success.
The second Charles looks around, he spies a tome that's black, a leatherish looking covering to it, and has dull gray letters rather stamped into it. When he opens it up, he sees that most of the pages are on very time-worn paper, perhaps even vellum, and the ink is a thin brown staining. There's appears to be lots of pictures of emaciated figures and strange symbols, and he's not sure what he's found because it's in a language that he doesn't currently comprehend. But it is certain that this holds some sort of knowledge that the section clearly is trying to keep away from people. However, go ahead.
No, go for it. I want to wait for the however before I say what I'm doing.
I was gonna say, however, just as Charles thinks maybe he's found something special, he hears a voice say, "Excuse me, I don't believe you belong here."
I turn and look towards the voice while trying to stealthily hide the book like behind my back, or not reveal that I have a book.
Sure, give me a sleight of hand roll.
I'm gonna burn 3 points of luck for a regular success.
It doesn't appear that she's seen you, but a middle-aged woman, glasses and curly hair, looks at you, and she looks like for a second as if she's trying to peer around you, as if you have something, and then she kind of shakes her head and says, I don't know why you're back here. Can I help you?"
No, sorry. I was looking for some academic journals, and I think I got lost. I was just looking, and these books don't even seem to be what I was looking for in the first place. Would you be able to point me towards any journals on volcanoes?
Give me a fast talk roll.
I will burn 2 points of luck for a regular success.
All right. Yeah, you managed to somehow convince her that even though there's clearly a velvet rope or a felt rope, that you somehow got lost. And she points you over to the natural sciences area and pulls out a large tome of volcanoes. And she asks you what kind of project you're working on.
Oh, I'm a journalist, and there's some news of a new volcano with some activity in Iceland that I'm kind of writing a story about, and just want to do all my research before I set sail over.
Okay. She goes, "Oh, well, that sounds very exciting. If you need anything else, I'll be at the front desk." She walks back, and you don't know how you've done it, but you have somehow, pulled one over on her, and you're holding a grimoire beneath your jacket, some sort of tome. I shouldn't say grimoire; that implies magic. It says tome.
Okay. I take the tome, definitely not a grimoire, tuck it under my jacket, and head back to the observatory.
Perfect. I'm going to leave you there as you travel back, and we are going to go over to Emma Reynolds. Emma, likewise, it has been, just under 24 hours since you arrived back in Arkham, and you did indicate that you were, supplying coffee to Dr. Dottie Hamilton. What else has Emma been up to in this time?
When we left off last time, was down like where Dottie was working, reading the Greek book, like starting to teach myself Greek. So that's basically what I spent the first day back doing, is down there, like making sure that she's got coffee, but also reading.
Okay. We are going to say that your, time to learn Greek is going to happen after over 4 months. So we're going to start out with being self-taught. So why don't you go ahead and get an improvement roll to see if you can increase your Greek. So it's a regular language is 1%, I believe. So you just got to roll higher than 1%.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and roll a d10 to add to that.
5.
5. All right, so that goes up to 6%. Now, I feel like Emma Reynolds probably isn't content with just 6% knowledge of Greek, hey?
Yeah.
How much would she be willing to spend on a tutor?
Well, she's in town, obviously she would find one, probably at the university. So she's got a decent amount that she can use for money.
Okay.
So I don't know, I have no idea what a tutor would even be.
What's your credit rating?
Is that on here again?
It's on your second page, or sorry, first page, left-hand column. Just under your skills.
It's like there's like nothing.
Actress. 1 second here. Looks like it's all the way back here.
You're muted, sweetie. I'm playing.
Alright, so probably credit rating 60. So with that being said, she could hire a pretty expensive tutor. So we'll just say that it's, out of her credit rating. She needs to actually be counting on that. But you can manage to hire a tutor. It's a Greek woman named Daphne, Dafni. Contulis, which is Kontoulis. And she gets to work overtime to improve your knowledge. So you can go ahead, because you're paying really good money. I'm going to give you 2 more improvement checks.
They should have given her Michael Scott from The Office in that episode where it has to be Mykonos.
First one was definitely a success.
Okay, roll a d10.
9.
So 6 goes to 15. And you can roll a third improvement check there.
Oop, just barely, but yeah, I rolled a 21, so.
Oh, perfect. Roll another d10.
2.
So 17. You now have 17% in Greek there. So let me go back to that scenario there.
Reach ruin.
So far. So go ahead and give me a Greek roll to try and read what you had found.
Not even close.
Well, you do have 4 months, so why don't you try pushing the roll or spending luck or...
What's the roll again?
Push the roll as you describe how you would do it differently, and you get to re-roll.
Okay, so I think I would copy certain words that I see from the book. Not actually show the book, but like I would copy certain words out of it and ask Daphne to like teach me those words.
Mm-hmm.
Like tell me what they mean, and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So I can start building a sort of like my own sort of
Murder, sacrifice.
Yeah, yep. Basically. So then I
Sure.
can sort of build up my own like, translation thing too.
Go ahead and roll again.
I'm gonna spend 3 points of luck and make it just a regular success then.
You actually can't spend luck on a
Oh, you can't. Okay,
push
never mind.
roll.
Never mind.
So, that's all right. You got 4 months, so maybe you could make it work eventually. But, she begins to read over it, and she says, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what these words She says it says something about a key. A gate and dreams. Um, she says, without seeing the full text, I'm afraid I can't give you more than that.
That's okay. We'll work on it.
Okay. And then, yeah, we'll flash over to James as you continue to plug away at the German writings there. There was also another book that you could take a look at too. So, James,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like things are slowly crumbling around you.
Maybe.
Well,
Maybe.
I don't know if the sane or the mentally stable tend to cut spirals into their legs after seeing a corpse with them. So, what's going
I would
on?
argue that James may be in a place that he doesn't see that as a wrong thing. So, things are turning up for him. Not every spiral loops down. Every so often it turns back up again. So,
Everything's coming up, James.
Oh dear, oh dear. Not spiraling out of control at all.
And
Well,
spiraling.
you know, James had mentioned to Charles in a previous episode, I believe it was to Charles, that he imagined himself as being this big game hunter, and now he feels as if he's the hunted. What's that all mean? Let's talk about that for a second.
Is this therapy?
There- let me lean back in my chair, doctor. I feel like James is in a very difficult place right now because I think, he did very well for himself during the war. Not only not only the First Great War, but also during the Boer War. He's worked his way up through the ranks as an officer. He did not do that by running away from things, or losing his shit every time something confronted him. So here he is now being confronted by things, and he has not been able a single time to keep it together. So I think he's at a bit of a crisis of identity about who he is and what he's actually capable of.
And as James is explaining this, the doctor in front of him leans back for a second and taps the pencil to his lip. He says, James, you keep skirting around these issues. We've been here for a month now. I mean, your friends think that you've been off gallivanting. What, another big hunt on another trip? What is it that you said that they were doing, or that you were doing to them?
I just said I was going to visit friends.
Did you tell them where or for how long? Or
No. I don't even know that I can trust them. I feel like they're doing pretty shady stuff.
are you willing to elaborate on the shady things? You've been remarkably walled in, should we say? And James glances down and sees the Dr. Victor Coolidge in front of him.
I'm not sure how much I can actually say, Doctor.
Are you afraid that I'm going to judge you for your true feelings? I'm here to listen. James.
Well, not speaking of my peers, I mean, and you are judged by your peers.
So you're hiding things from them?
Of course. I'm sure they're hiding things from me. They're very damaged. They're very damaged people.
You've mentioned that you've come into conflict before with both Dottie and Wiley. Walk me through that. What seems to be the issue that you hold with them?
Well, Wiley has too many secrets. I don't even know what she does.
You don't find a sense of irony that you're unwilling to share parts of yourself and yet you expect her to open up?
No. Listen, we're all honest about, I'm not dishonest with them about who I am. But I can't have them knowing I'm running off to, with secrets to people like you.
Well, you're paying me to whisper secrets. Let's be honest about that.
Certainly. How many sessions do you think this will take?
Well, that all depends on you. The mind is a tricky contraption. If you're open to the process and willing to share and search for healing, I'm certain that we could be out of here in, of course, no more than 4 months for obvious reasons. But should you be more reticent, you could be here for years.
This is my thought, Doctor. This is my thought, though. I mean, you don't cross a battlefield by opening yourself up, right? You seal yourself like you need a tank, you need armor, you need some sort of protective measures. That's what I'm looking for. Protective measures.
But you have mistaken the mind for a battlefield. The mind is not a battlefield that can simply take the slings and arrows of life without any sort of repercussion. The mind can only take so much before it must focus on itself.
Now, how do you feel about your mother?
Hey, we don't know if he's free or you. Just hold on. Okay.
Tell me about Dottie. You mentioned several times bickering with her.
I would really rather not. The woman is incorrigible.
Do you think that there's perhaps some jealousy?
She does know good tea, though. You Americans don't understand.
He kind of nods as if he'll give you that one, but do you find that there's jealousy there?
Jealousy? Of what?
Well, you have similar backgrounds, both come from war, and yet you fancy yourself a big game hunter who seems to be unable to follow through on the hunt, yet she goes in fearlessly, survives what you say is some sort of major wound from something, and you're very quiet, and yet she perseveres, headstrong, wanting to pursue this business, this joint venture that you keep mentioning.
Listen, what are you talking about, Butter? That was me and my slings and arrows.
Okay. So if you think that none of this current circumstances has any bearing on your mental capacities, let's go to your past. Tell us about the war. Begin with the Boer War. You said never go back to Africa. Why is that?
It has nothing to do with the war. I love Africa.
Then why do you refuse to return?
Because it hurts to remember what I had there.
What did you have?
I had hope there.
What's it mean to you?
There's an opportunity for a legacy. There's an opportunity for happiness there.
And you lost it.
Mhm.
Did you see?
The loss?
Mhm.
No. If I saw it coming, I could have stopped it.
Give me a spot hidden goal.
He's roofing me. I feel it. Spot hidden. No, I failed.
You see him scribble something down at this point on his notepad.
Is that the first time he's done that?
It's the first time he's stopped to write something in any detail. He's made little tickings here and there, but this is more pronounced. And then, so you lose hope, you lose your legacy, and then the second war happens.
It all happened very quickly. I didn't have time to mourn what I'd lost. I was called home.
Tell me about your experience in the Great War.
Blood, mud, hit. The gas left this lovely discoloration on everything that I didn't push deep enough into the mud in the trench that day. I got to watch grown men cry out for their mothers in their final moments. For what?
Do you feel like you lost more during that war?
Whatever I gained didn't matter anymore. So, win or lose, I was just circling.
So you return from that war. You feel hopeless, lost,
I went back to Africa.
the place you love. And
I
what
thought,
did you seek there?
I'm not sure. I lost myself in hunting and tried to forget.
Jeremy, at this time I'm going to ask your character to make a sanity roll.
That's just for fun at this point.
I know. Oh, this could be close. Oh, fuck, no, I failed. I rolled a 29 and I have a 25.
Okay. Well, after 1 month of therapy with a good doctor, you're making progress. He mentions to you that, if you want to have any sort of hope, you have to open up more. You have to be willing to tell him what's out there. Don't worry, it's all private, the whole, calling of a doctor and the legality of it. Ethically and legally, you are protected. And
You think I don't tell you what's out there because you think I'm afraid of a breach of confidence. Doctor, I don't tell you what's out there because you may need the very thing you are if I do.
He perhaps arrogantly suggests to you that...
Can I try to intimidate him on that?
Yes. Yeah, I want to see where this goes.
No. No. I only have 30 in intimidate. I rolled a 42. Oh well.
Well, you try your best to sound menacing, but he arrogantly suggests to you that, the mind of an alienist is very much secure from the burdens of the world, and don't worry about him, worry about yourself. However, he ends the session with you and suggests that perhaps you go back to your dormitory room and journal out the ideas. He also says that he will ask the nurses to give you a little bit extra of your medicine tonight, just to help you sleep and think things through.
Okay.
And I'd like you to give me a power roll.
Fail.
You take the doctor's good advice, and when the nurses give you your medicine, you take it. And soon you lull into a very, very deep sleep. And in the quietest part of the night, in the quietest part of your brain, you hear a whisper that pulls you back to Africa. And we're going to go back to Dottie, who has been looking at an autopsy here.
Fascinating.
Dottie, what do you make of all of this?
It's quite perplexing. Just the physical changes that don't seem to line up with general human physiology. And then, everything else that looks so normal. What were his insides like, other than temperature-wise? And the blood?
Things didn't really seem to stand out too poorly. There's rupturing of blood vessels around the neck, where that tentacled head bursts forth. Would you like to examine those?
Yes.
Now, curiously, the head split apart to 4 sections, so you're able to analyze everything. I'm going to have you give me a natural world roll again. Or if you have a more specific science, that might work as well.
Biology?
That would work, yep.
That is just a regular success.
These are very aquatic in nature. You would think they're similar to pseudopods of a octopus or a squid, something like that. And yet they're very firmly rooted in the muscles and ligatures of the body itself, almost as if they've transformed into this.
So it came out of the head. It's rooted into the neck and the shoulders and the chest?
Yeah.
At what point does the transition kind of stop and I'm left with more humanoid?
It looks like towards the stomach sternum area.
Okay. So the heart and everything is
Still there.
Still there, okay. Is there any sort of octopi head?
Why don't you go ahead? I want another autopsy roll. Your first one was pretty good, though.
Yeah. Just a regular success again.
At the top of the stomach lining, you see an outline, almost like blood vessels were forming into the shape of an eye. They're very, they're not pronounced, but that's exactly what it looks like. They're tightening into that kind of ovalish almond shape, and there's definite veining.
I'm so excited by this discovery. I immediately throw something at Emma to make her pay attention because I'm assuming she's hyper focused in her book.
Yeah, basically.
So closest thing would probably be something wet and bloody. Just throw that at her. Come look at
Good.
this, it's fascinating.
All right.
Don't puke in my cadaver.
I'll do my best.
If you need to puke, puke in the bucket.
Right. What am I looking at here?
See this spot here?
That's disgusting. Yes.
It's an eyeball.
Okay. Where was it?
Well, it's still in the stomach.
There's it in his stomach.
Yes, but it wasn't swallowed.
That doesn't make it any better.
No, but it's fascinating, isn't it? It's like building into the stomach tissue.
And as Dottie
It's the
says
thing we
this,
saw?
Yes.
she also grabs the scalpel and on instinct makes a cut. And it cuts away at the topmost layer, exterior of the stomach. And as it peels back, an intact whole eye looks out at her. However, it's very much the eye of a squid or octopus. It is not a human eye.
This is fantastic.
That's disgusting.
Yes,
I,
but
I know that's an eye.
yes, in stomach lining.
Okay. So what does that say to you? You've got that manic look on your face. So what does that say to you?
Some sort of parasitic bond, perhaps? Or, well, honestly, it almost looks like the gestation of a child.
Gross.
I'm not wrong.
So gross.
I feel like a lot of things we're going to be encountering are going to be gross.
That would track with where we've been the last little while.
Find beauty in the Rob.
Sure.
Like, I'm gonna work on extracting the octobaby.
It is difficult work. I'm going to ask you to give me a hard medicine roll. Everything appears to be attached and yet not fully formed.
Come on, dice. I'm gonna spend 2 luck to bring it down to a hard. Can I do that?
Absolutely.
Awesome. It's got a 39 and I have a 37. So.
Perfect. So you do get a larger blade cut into this. It almost feels like you're hacking away, and Dottie has to take the whole stomach in order for it to make any sort of sense. She realizes, and then she begins cutting the muscles, tendons away from the body, and what she's left with is, honestly, it's almost silly. There's these tentacles attached to a stomach where an eye is clearly attached to it. I'm gonna ask for another biology roll.
That is a regular success.
The word mutation springs to mind. It's as if this thing were in a process of transforming and didn't quite make it all the way.
I'm gonna set up another autopsy table with the stomach and the squid. Just kind of like lay it out and stomach aside. Like how big are these tentacles? Like are they rather thick or are they?
They range from 3 to 5 feet long. In thickness, they would be anywhere from 2 to half an inch thick. There appears to be about 8 of them.
Well, this need to be preserved.
You're gonna put it in one of your pickle jars, aren't you?
Oh, no, much more than that. It's gonna be in a pickle box.
Okay. If you say so.
You know how they do like butterflies and bugs and stuff?
No, I'm just
They
giving you
make
shit.
board? Oh no, I
I'm
know.
giving you shit.
I'm just saying, like that's what Dottie's picturing because it's not so much like something that should just be like, floating in the bottom, like formaldehyde or whatever. In jar, it's gonna like spread out on display. The stomach's gonna like split open to like really expose the eye and inner endings and stuff, and like measurements and like whole plaque thing. And it'll be in like the private area of the society's sort of display or whatever.
I do read something really fast. I had to make sure this is the right time period. So, do you think this had anything to do with Darwin then? His idea of
Darwin.
evolution?
Hmm.
Is
Never
it
thought of
possible?
that.
I had to make sure that was like a popular thing at the time. Like, quick, read.
There is a possibility, but we evolved to be from on land, and octopi are generally water-based creatures.
Isn't it possible that this is just its evolution? As disgusting as that is,
Meaning, how do you mean?
maybe it's changing somehow.
The octopi or the poor homosexual?
Both.
Yes, the natural evolutionary trajectory of homosexual.
Homosexuals of octopi. It makes perfect sense.
I've seen documentaries.
Hentai doesn't count, Kate.
Documentaries.
Documentaries.
Hey.
Hey.
Where does hentai fit on the LGBTQ? Like, what letters hentai?
Plus.
Plus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mess with that. That's way down the other end from where I am, so.
I was gonna say, to quote The Office again, it's called hentai and it's art.
Sure.
Um,
I don't know about you, this time it's not me.
I don't think so. I think this is something else. It seems more. This.
Like Nixon?
No, I don't think so. The octopi itself seems to be sort of gestating, as gross as that is, as you say. But it was using the body as a host of sorts.
Parasite.
But more or less, I believe. But there's also a measure of mutation, so it could possibly be that he was mutating into this from the inside out.
Then the question is, how did he come into contact with this?
That I'm not sure of. That usually goes beyond my scope of handling.
At this point, this is perhaps a dissection that's been taking, the better part of a few weeks. You've been working to preserve the body and things like that. So I am going to give Emma Reynolds another chance at reading the text that she's been working through in German. I will give her a bonus roll because she's
Am I learning German or Greek?
Oh, sorry, Greek is what I meant. Sorry.
No wonder you've
I
been
wrote
struggling. You've been
Greek.
learning the wrong
You're
language.
Every
No
language.
wonder you suck at Greek.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a bonus die, though, because you've been
Okay.
studying the same text over and over.
So what does that mean again?
It means that you can add, or you can roll your tens die twice and take the better result, so the lower number.
Oh my god, that's like a regular success. I rolled a 16.
Perfect. So, you hear, or you read the following, and some of the words don't, one of the words in particular, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But it says, I call upon Yog Sothoth to hear my request. The gates and the key. This vessel has been prepared. Empty this body. Transport my will. Prepare the way to dreams. Yog Sothoth. Open the gate.
I feel like Emma finally understands this and has one of those, like she's like sounding it out while Daddy's working, and finally it like clicks with her, and gets that man look on her face. Daddy, I get it now. I had this letter mixed up with this one, but I get it now. And I just like word vomit all that at her.
Interesting. Those were words.
Curiously, you're not sure what or who Yog Sothoth is.
I'm gonna have to go to the university, I think. Maybe do some research. Do you have anything you want me to look for on there? I'm assuming you're gonna stay here and play with your guts.
No, it's not the guts anymore. I mean, other than the stomach, but that's just the point. No, I think I might come with you.
Make sure you watch out first. You don't scare anybody.
Look down at, like, the bump everywhere. What are you trying to say?
Like, it's, I'm used to it because I know you. But other people maybe not so much.
Mm.
Also, we don't scare the people that are upstairs.
I suppose so.
We're gonna say
People
that.
throwing a party.
We're gonna say that we're gonna cut there. The day in which you've been, basically at the end of the day. So going to the university right now is not really your best interest. But you know what? You just touched upon wanting to throw a party. Briefly, go through that.
I don't remember what I told you anymore. Eventually Emma would want to throw a party to sort of bring in investors, maybe, and let you write to her daddy and let him know like she's well and that like anything that she's involved in is obviously nothing that he can do if you wanted to, and it would help her out. And she's thinking about throwing this big party, and maybe she could put his name behind it. She'd get lots of other people to come.
What relationships does Emma have with her father? What kind of personality would she exhibit to try to convince him to spend his money?
Have you ever seen Princess and the Frog?
I haven't.
Well, the girl in that, like, the little blonde girl in that movie, I don't know if knows what I'm talking about. But basically, Emma's got her daddy wrapped around her finger. Like, she is a daddy's girl, and does whatever it takes to, like, make him happy and, like, love her. And you just do it on her.
Okay, go ahead
It's
and
like
roll.
sugary sweet to her dad, and then she has this sort of like French persona, and then like with a man, she's like Travis. When a woman says later, she means not ever.
Go ahead and roll a
Exactly.
charm roll
Right.
for me.
Definitely Emma.
That is the exact line from the movie.
I'm sorry, charm.
Yeah.
Just a regular success.
Your daddy, dearest, is missing you so ever much, and he trusts that what you're doing is all that you say it is, and wishes you'd come home, but he believes in you. If this is something of worth, he wants to support you. And so he's willing to give you $20,000 to renovate this observatory and throw this lavish party in hopes of revitalizing its historic significance, of course.
I can get my dad to give me $20.
Like, get this information and just go running to Daddy.
You call him Daddy.
I don't call my dad daddy, though. That might be
It's fine, it's fine.
First mistake. Ah, damn.
That was wonderful.
And of course, Emma decides that yes, let's throw a gala. Let's invite people from all over to put on the facade of the society as of something of a cult and scientific and historical significance that they should be throwing their money towards. Of course, the first thing that they need is to repair the observatory, because how else can you look at the stars and find both symbolic and religious as well as scientific breakthroughs? And so she begins to formulate this giant gala. And we're going to say that happens right around month 2. And of course, from there, we're going to go to Charles, but you know what? I think we need to take a quick break because I had a coffee. So we will be back in 10 minutes.
It's a party.
Ain't no party like a Cthulhu party.
And we're back and highly caffeinated. We're off to Charles now. Charles escaped Miskatonic University with some sort of text, and he's been gonna give it a little bit of a read through there, I think.
Yeah.
So upon further inspection, Charles has found himself in possession of the tome Nameless Cults. It appears to be an English edition. It does give reference to another text that has been translated from. I have no idea how to pronounce this, so I'm not gonna try because it's some other language. But it is translated from UNAUSSPRECHLICHEN. Unasprechen, and then Kulten, KULTEN. It appears to have been published in 1845. It doesn't actually give the location of the printing. It is an octavo edition, if you know the dimensions of that. It is very badly flawed. Like, even the English itself appears to be broken in places. Does Charles attempt to read through it?
Absolutely, he does.
Okay. So the following is going to happen. So there are two ways to read a Mythos tome, because that's what this is. There's what's called an initial reading, which is what happens when you just glance through it for a set amount of time. And then there's also what's called a full reading. We do one and then the other, so that Charles at least has an understanding of what he's getting into before he commits to reading the whole thing. And so we'll do the initial reading. So the first thing that's going to happen is Charles is going to need to make a sanity roll.
Oh, shit.
Only after making a language own roll.
Okay, my language is pretty solid.
It might not be a good thing.
Regular success.
Right. So now you will need to. Oh, and sorry, I apologize. There's very few times I've done this. You actually don't make a sanity roll. You just take sanity loss.
You know what? It was gonna happen anyways. I've only got 9 at the moment.
Well, my friend, you take 8.
Nice. Great. Super.
8.
8. The loss was 2d8, so you got off pretty good.
How is that book just lying around the library?
Who's checking the shit out?
The next thing that I need is for you to add 4 points to your Cthulhu Mythos, which will subtract 4 from your maximum sanity.
Okay.
Now, is
That wasn't very high anyways.
Is Charles looking for anything specific within this tome?
I think he's just looking for, like, better understanding of the cults and Cthulhu and just, like, what does all of this mean in general.
Okay. Charles flips through the book, and he finds the information he's looking for. He finds that this is all about Cthulhu. These cults have worshipped him for millennia. And just when the statue seems to surface, something tragic befalls the area in which it was found, and it disappears again. Charles holds the second statue that was found, and something deep within him tells him this is a fake. He searches through the book and he sees the depictions of the statue are identical to the one that James has been coveting. The exact details.
Dun dun dun!
He also sees mention of the other 5 cults. Everyone except for the Swamp and the Perfect Science.
Perfect Science?
Yeah, those ones aren't found, but the others are found, suggesting that they're older.
Okay.
It seems they all have one thing in common, and that is that they are trying to raise Cthulhu, who slumbers in Relay, a name that you see for the first time.
Okay.
Now, Charles has also lost more than a fifth, and also more than 5 points at one time.
More than half, yeah.
So Charles is going to experience indefinite insanity.
Great.
So let's go ahead to our fancy D100 here.
So, just for curiosity, what happens when, not if, but when I hit 0 sanity? Because I've only got 1 left.
All the fun in the world happens at that time.
Perfect. I can't wait. Should I start rolling a new character now, or...?
Oh, don't get ahead of ourselves here.
I'll GM translate for you. That's yes.
Yeah. Charles just becomes Cthulhu.
Let's see here. This is too good to just leave it to chance, so I think...
Oh, good.
Well, you know what, kid? I'll let you choose one. Do you want a phobia or a mania?
I'm already afraid of being alone. Let's go with the mania.
Oh, good. Let's see. Ooh, 94 is really good. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, no, this is the one.
He's afraid of being around people.
Charles
I was afraid of being alone.
Yes, yeah. Charles experiences idolomania, obsession or devotion to an idol. Specifically, this Cthulhu idol must be his.
Just trying to wedge a thing in between everyone's favorite shit. Okay.
I'm gonna go to you, Cade. So I'm gonna say that you're gonna experience this bout of madness. Oh, let's say at least for a couple of days.
Mhm.
How does Charles exhibit this madness?
I think at first he goes and talks to James and explains, like, hey, this statue is a sign of, like, bad things to come. I read it in a book, so it has to be true. So we should take care of it. And you know what? I would love to take it off your hands in order to go and deal with it, so you don't have to.
Well, here's the thing. Charles spends time talking that through, speaking to James, holding elaborate conversations, and, all over tea, because he knows that James loves tea, and he tries to butter him up, and in a moment of clarity, he realizes he hasn't been talking to anybody but himself. Because James has been gone for 2 months.
Did James take the statue with him?
You're not sure. Do you go looking for it?
Absolutely, I do.
Charles does not find the statue.
Charles starts to get the sweats.
Charles begins turning the observatory over, searching for the idol. I would like Dottie and Emma to give me, let's go with a listen roll.
Y'all ain't heard shit. I'm sneaky as hell.
Ooh, actually, yes. Please give me an opposed. Please give me an opposed stealth roll, Charles.
Ooh, that's a hard success.
So they must be a hard success.
Regular success, so I'm
You're muted there, Rafi.
I'm quiet as hell.
broke her stuff.
A 9. Just a 9? Is that an extreme success? Ooh. Charles.
We'll see about that.
Charles is as sneaky as can be. He really doesn't want people knowing that he's searching for the idol. In fact, Emma can barely tell. She thinks he's just been holed up in his room trying to sleep off what's been happening. And yet, one night, as there's a large, elaborate party, Dottie realizes that Charles has slipped out. And she watches as he goes down the hall, out the main ballroom doors, peering over his shoulder as if he hopes he's not seen. With that, we're going to flip over to James. James, you heard a voice calling, deep in your sleep. And that voice hasn't quit for nearly a month. And every single night it pulls at you. And it wants to walk through that past in Africa and what you saw. In your dreams, you stand at the edge of a forest, rifle in hand, and you hear the voice saying, "Go, seek, within." I'd like James to explore his memory. What happens in that trip in the jungles?
He's alone. He thinks he's tracking like a leopard or maybe alone, sort of a rogue lion.
Give me a spot hidden roll. Or a trap roll, whichever's better for you.
In this case, spot hidden is just a little bit higher, and I have a hard success.
Perfect. Yeah, you see this lion creeping along, trying to remain hidden as it stalks prey, deadhead. You know, James is a great hunter. He's always been an expert marksman. Right back to the Boer War, the Great War, there was something that people could beat him at, and that was his dead-eye aim. It's right in front of you, James. Did you pull the trigger?
Yeah, load my rifle. Take a moment to calm my breathing.
You take expert aim. Give me a firearms rifle with a bonus die.
A hard success.
You feel the slow and steady exhale of your breath as your finger touches the cold steel of the rifle and pull that ever so short click of the trigger, much shorter than anything with such power has any right to be. The shot echoes across the hills and grass and fallen trees within the jungle. And you hear as birds spring to life and a soft thud as a body drops to the floor. You edge forward to go and claim the trophy of the kill. You examine the body. It's a massive lion, king of the pride. And just then, I need a listen roll.
A hard success.
A snap of a branch as James' eyes are up straight in front of him. In the darkness, he sees eyes peering out at him, preternatural, ominous. What's he do in response?
Wake up.
Power roll.
I wanna go home. Oh my gosh, I think I made this. Hold on. Yes, a regular success.
Unfortunately, as hard as James tries, a voice within says, "Not this time, James. This time you must face it." There's no turning back. There's no waking up. Face the nightmare, James. There's an odd sense of lucidness to this dream.
I will. I guess I'll look at it.
James stands up and uses his rifle's support and peer forward. This is how it's always been. You've never walked away from a hunt. Not in Africa, during the Boer War, not in the trenches. Not now. You've only lied to yourself. Lied to yourself that you didn't see what it was. James has always known what it was in front of him. He knew it. Down in those tunnels. Deep within his heart, he knew. The talons, the fins, the low, gurgling growl that they give off. He saw the exact same monster in the heart of the African jungles. But he blocked it from his past, from his memories, determined that no, it wasn't weakness, it wasn't a cowardice that made him run. It was something unexplainable, something that he would find the secret to if he chose to look. And never saw it again until he was deep down under the house in Providence. The second that idol touched his hands, he felt that same sense of dread. And he wakes up.
I'm on the couch.
You're in your room. Go ahead and give me another sanity roll here. Nothing, eh?
No.
Well, let's see here. Okay. You meet with the doctor the following day. He says, James, I've been hearing that you've been screaming at night. Talk to me about that.
Nightmares.
About the past or the present.
Past.
What frightens you so?
Things that I've seen, things that I know. I think. What are those things you're doing, by the way, that application?
Oh, just a simple ambient.
Well, I go to sleep, not that I necessarily want to be there, but
Do you fear sleep?
that seems to be where these well, I don't have nightmares during the day.
You see him jot something down again. Give me a spot hidden roll.
Oh, it's my best skills. No, okay.
He says to you, do you think your trust issues come from a lack of control?
Do you think I have trust issues?
Oh, we've already talked about how you don't trust those that you call your friends.
Well, those they were crazy.
I don't believe that you are the shining beacon of sanity that you like to say you are.
Says one in the institute. It's fine.
You asked me to open up to you. I've given that some thought. Deflecting this line of questioning. Do you know much about the Boer War, Doctor?
I'm afraid I've always been an academic. Tell me about it.
The Good Queen's army. Good King's, pardon me. The Good King's army. They decided to quell, Little Uprising. So we marched.
Imperials.
Well, I suppose. That's not the way it was explained to me, though. So we march in and we take over. areas known as the Boers. But, you know, people don't like to be put under someone's thumb. Do they?
Not generally.
So they start fighting back, but they don't use, you know, they don't follow the rules of warfare. There's no trenches. There's no lines of engagement. They just come out of the woods and start shooting. Skirmishes. Nothing large scaled. So then we get orders for what they called a scorched earth policy. Are you familiar with that term?
Is it as on the nose as it sounds?
Well, you take away the enemy's ability to fight because you can't fight them. They're not there. They're hiding. They're striking and they're running away. So you take away their ability to fight. Take away their water. Take away their food. Take away their livestock, their plants. Any kind of tool, any kind of infrastructure. You take away their aged, their women, their children, you lock them up. And you try to break their will that way.
You talk as if this didn't sit well with you.
Would it have?
Well, you were just a soldier, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. A young officer. Good for things.
You know, James, in every single scenario that I hear you talk through, it's as if you're talking about a lack of control, a lack of being able to take action. More war, policies that you didn't believe in, yet were forced to act upon. Something that happened in the heart of Africa, which you lost all hope and direction for the future in. A war in the trenches, fighting for a country, fighting for a war, killing in the name of something bigger than yourself. And now this endeavor with your friends. Them wanting to take in a direction of business that you don't agree with. And that never happened in Providence. Seems like it shook your foundations as well. It all adds up to a lack of self-control, wouldn't you agree?
Self-control?
Control. My apologies, I misspoke.
Well, that's the order of things, right? Soldiers do what they're ordered to do.
You know, I think we've made great progress today. Astonishing, remarkable progress. I'd like you to continue along this train of thought. And he snaps his notebook shut and places it on the desk and goes to usher you up the door.
I go.
And things continue as routine. Back to your room.
When they bring me my meds that night, I'm going to try to fake taking them.
Sleight of hand roll, please.
This won't go well. Oh my god, I actually made it. I made it. Yeah, I only have a D7%. I rolled a 9.
Nice. Wonderful. Make sure you check that off. You gotta get that increased.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you do that thing where you swirl them away in the pouch of your cheek, and when they're not looking, you spit them into the garbage.
I'm gonna keep them.
Oh, you're gonna keep them? Okay. I'm okay with that, yeah. Alright, and let's go back to Emma, who was throwing a gala, in which Dottie just saw something curious. But Emma, let's talk through your gala. What kind of people would you expect to have been there?
Oh boy, she would have invited like any people from LA that she would have had connections with, have money, obviously, and maybe some of her old co-stars. She would have invited, maybe not so much her dad, but like people that ran in the same circles as her dad.
Mm-hmm. So wealthy oil tycoons, celebrities, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody who you would have expected shows up. This is a huge gala. In fact, you're very lucky that you sunk that $20,000 into the ballroom to get it up and going. And there happens to be a long conversation with somebody who everybody says is big and up and comer. They appear to be just visiting from their homeland of Russia. The name of Sergei Eisenstein. And he talks to you about experimental pictures. Have you ever thought about doing anything outside of just the day-to-day, what everybody wants to see?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, something of real art, something of measure, and something of artistic genius.
I mean, I'm a little busy at the moment, but maybe we could talk about it.
Trust me, I've got an idea, and you've heard enough of this guy. Feel even that he hasn't actually directed anything yet. He's just been working up to pitching his next film. He believes, well, I'm not speaking anything pornographic, of course. That would be. I have no interest. I have no interest in that. He begins to talk to you about this film technique that he's working on. It's a series of pictures and shots that are quick in succession. He calls it the name of the montage. It sounds very mystical. He says he gives you a card, and he says, if you ever need anything, you let me know. Perhaps I can have you come overseas and film there. People never do overseas.
Called the casting coach.
I'll have you know that historically, Sergei Eisenstein was asexual. Yes.
My choice.
Yes.
Bring it brief.
But give me an intelligence roll.
Sure, why not? Oh yeah. Not my lowest, but between that and then the half.
Yeah. You think that having a foreign director who speaks Russian, a bad contact,
A foreign film.
maybe not immediately useful, but something for the back pocket for sure. Go ahead and give me a. Oh, what roll did I have? Oh, give me a charm roll.
Arnold, you said?
Yeah.
Regular success.
Okay. So Emma gets in front of the crowd to try to shake something out for somebody. What kind of speech does she give to them?
I'm very distracted when it's a bunch of assholes.
Your story.
Oh boy. Just trying to think. Like very like Gatsby-like, where they're at the party and he's just charming everybody and really working the crowd. I'm terrible at speeches, please don't make me do that. Thanks.
Do it.
But yeah, just like telling them that we're investing in the observatory because it's a mix of science and religion and the past and the future and all these different things converging into one. And it'll be great when it's restored to its former glory and the ability to see the stars like are right around us is invaluable.
I'm sold.
The mention of the stars and of course being in an observatory really makes people reflect. What is out there and why haven't we uncovered it? And yet people have been gazing at the stars for millennia, and surely there must be something out there that they can see. And so with that being said, you managed to raise 1 second here.
If you do this well, you're going to do it all the time.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I should have just swapped characters with the slide because honestly I'm terrible at stuff that requires charisma.
They open up their pockets, and you manage to get them in total to donate $1 million.
Shit.
There's a lot of very wealthy people here. You feel like they still shortchanged you. Of course, they could get more, but from that
That
many
makes me
people,
feel like a lot of money.
yep. And of course, you don't expect them to give up their whole amount. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's just at the peak of the night where Dottie sees Charles slipping out. What did she do?
Is he slipping out through like the back of the observatory, or did he just go blazing out the front door?
He's crazy. He probably jumped the fence. We could have just walked out the front door. He lives here. To the dog door.
I feel like with Roxy, Dottie has done extensive sort of walking about the grounds, especially trying to work her like strength back up from her injury. So I think she would flip out too to like head him off at the pass, as it were,
Okay,
or at least track him with Roxy.
I would like Charles to make a power roll.
Super fail. That's a 99.
Okay. Make me a spot hidden roll.
Regular success.
I'd like you to take out the map of the observatory, and I want you to list 3 locations where you think James could have hid the idol.
Well, one of them's gotta be the Nimoy Leonard Event Horizon Theater.
Historically named, of course.
Of course. The planetarium. And the Cloud Chamber, because I like the name of it.
All right, now give me a luck roll.
That'd be a hard success.
Dottie, I'd like a luck roll for you as well.
I have 37 luck. I rolled a 31.
Okay, so regular success. So Charles, you managed to get through all 3 areas searching until Dottie comes near you. I'm not going to say finds yet. The idol is not in any of these 3 areas. Dottie, are you trying to be stealthy?
No,
Okay.
I live here. That would be silly.
No, I live here, damn it.
All right. You find Charles in the cloud?
The Cloud Chamber.
You find Charles in the cloud chamber. He appears to be searching for something.
What on earth are you doing?
I just need some air from the party.
Generally, when one wishes for air, they go outside.
Well, I figured the Cloud Chamber would have clouds in it. Clouds are outside and mostly air, they are.
Good save.
They're actually more precipitation-based, but it's close enough, I suppose.
I'm not a scientist, I'm sure less. Can't all be doctors, Donnie.
Everyone can be a doctor if they try hard enough.
That is false.
You can be a doctor of anything
I don't think any doctors journalism.
Some people aren't smart.
if they try hard enough. You're being very suspicious.
I need pieces. I live here, right? Go wherever I want.
You're sneaking.
That's silly.
I agree, which is why I did not sneak, but you have been sneaking.
I was not sneaking. Clearly not. You found me. If I was sneaking, you wouldn't have found me.
You're just very bad at sneaking.
I have a character sheet that says otherwise.
I want you to jump a fence and then come back inside.
I wanted some exercise with my hair.
Why are you lying to me?
I have nothing to lie about. I'm not lying. I just wanted some air. I didn't want to be at the party anymore. I don't do well with those rich yuppies, and I just...
I don't either.
Well, then we're both here, are we not? Clearly.
I would like Charles to give me either a fast talk or persuade. Now, you want to this. There are different outcomes to a fast talk or persuade. So persuade, they will believe you till the end of time until you prove otherwise. A fast talk, they will believe you until they can have a moment to reconsider things.
Well, my persuasion is higher than a fast talk
Maybe-
anyways. Okay. So go on with persuade. And I will burn 2 points of luck for a regular success.
Okay, Alfie, make me a psychology check, and you must be a regular success. You know what? Charles has been through a lot. Charles has probably been through the most of all of you. I mean, the poor guy was almost ritualistically sacrificed, only to then have these things haunt him. Maybe he must just get some air.
I know you miss James.
Why does everyone say it in that tone?
I wasn't saying it in any tone, that's just my voice in my face. But you just had kinship with him, yes?
Yeah, we're friends. We're friends.
He's never roommate. Anyway. We could always go and visit him.
I don't want to bother him. I'll chat with him when he's back. It's fine.
I don't know if it would be a bother. Just a catch up and we'll bring some good tea.
You know I hate tea. It's just
It's not about you. It's about
weirdly flavored warm juice.
Look, I can't help
How
it.
dare
You're
you.
incorrect with your statements regarding tea and cheese.
Cheese is just milk that's not bad. It just...
But it's not about you. It would be tea for James, not for you.
Is this like the T for consent video? Is that? That's basically...
Damn it. I'll write them, okay?
Alright. I'm just trying to help.
Thanks.
We're all in this together and I care about all of you.
Thank you.
That's just Roxy. Don't you? You have switches.
Hi, Roxy.
The rest of the night passes by fairly uneventfully. And, in fact, the next month, everything seems to come to a bit of a halt. The body has been autopsied as best as possible. Emma's been plugging away at her Greek lessons. Emma, give me one more roll to see if you can gain more points in your Greek.
Not even close.
Yeah, so 70% is still pretty good. It's a good start. You put a lot of effort and good money behind learning. We go back to James. And James, in front of you, Dr. Coleridge says, James, I think we made a lot of progress in the last 4 months.
Yeah, can I derail this for a second?
Yeah.
James decides that he will just spill everything. Literally everything. Just vomit it all. Oh, like, all the information.
Oh, buddy, you're not leaving.
You're in South California, right?
Is there anything particular that you want to highlight to him?
I tell him about the fish people. I tell him about the body. I show him not only the spiral that I carved prior to leaving, but the ones that I've added since. I assume he writes it down in his notebook.
Oh, absolutely does. Give me another spotting roll.
Oh, I got this one. A hard success.
Yeah.
I got a fucking time!
You can see that he's furiously writing as you're telling him all these secrets. It's like he couldn't stop even if he tried. In 1 second, he says, just one moment. And he goes to leave his office for 1 second. You go over to the notepad. And all you see written over and over is, he knows, he's onto us. He knows, he's onto us.
I'm gonna check his desk. I want to see if he's got any, like, maybe has some tea in there.
Maybe, you roll through the drawers. And yeah, you find a small bottle of scotch.
Okay.
Unusual.
Perfect. So, on our last session, I wait for him, like, if this is it, and he steps out of the room for a moment. When he comes back in, I am cold cocking him.
Okay. Do you hide behind the door or something? How are you doing this?
Sure.
Give me a
Sure.
stealth roll.
I will hide behind the door into the room. Oh, I have a hard success. Yes.
Hey.
You hide behind the door just as you're sure he's coming back in.
Mhm.
And as soon as he walks through the door, give me a fighting brawl roll.
Is he alone?
We'll get to that. You can
Oh.
actually make this with a bonus die. He is fully unconscious. And just as you hurl him past the doorway, you notice that there were 2 orderlies who came with them, and you expertly took out the good doctor. And I'm going to give you a chance to make another unopposed fighting brawl against the second orderly with a bonus die if you wish to do so.
Can I just lock the door instead?
Yeah, I like that. You could absolutely do that. Give me instead of a fighting brawl, give me a sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand.
Oh, actually, you know what? Not a sleight of hand. Give me a dexterity.
Okay. I will success.
You slam that door shut and immediately wedge a chair underneath it to lock it.
Yeah.
What do you do next?
Put a knee on the doctor's chest and I first feed him all my Ambien,
You wash it down with the alcohol.
which is not a good mix.
Nope.
I wouldn't assume so.
I'm then going to quickly gather up any paperwork I can find of our chats.
Okay.
Would I have my personal belongings? Would I be like leaving?
You didn't take much in with you, is my assumption.
Okay.
So you probably wouldn't have all of your belongings, but I don't think that you took very much with you.
All right.
Sorry, this is how little I know is a side effect of ambient alcohol.
Ambient alcohol says that it can slow brain activity to the point of death.
Oh wow. Is it your intention to kill him?
Yes.
Okay.
Before I even knew, he knew I was something else. I was just going to take this opportunity to get everything off my chest and then kill him so he doesn't have to be burdened by that.
Definitely not a cult, though.
You snag his journal, which appears to be the only thing of real writing and notation that he has. But it's quite a thick journal. You also managed to take a cigar box that is on his desk.
Oh, cigar box. Perfect. Perfect. So there must be a lighter here, too.
Yes.
Does he have
So,
like something in this room?
Oh yes, your typical study, tons of books. And
Is
nice
there-
plush furniture.
And is there a window?
Yep.
And are the orderlies trying to break through the door?
100%. You see the knob rattling, the door shaking, and you hear one of them shout, "Just get the fuck!" Fire axe.
Maybe the ambient won't be quick enough.
Burn the asylum down. Clearly, that's your only option.
I'm really tempted to, but also like consequences, right?
They have to find you first.
I mean, technically the doctor's dead. There's consequences anyways.
If we've learned anything, blowing up a building has very little consequences.
Only if it's in a different city.
Yeah.
I am going to like take the curtain, wrap it around my forearm, and like break out a window.
Okay. It's just a normal strength roll.
As I hear them getting fire axes. Yeah, regular success.
Broken.
Are we high up?
Nope, ground floor.
Perfect. So just to be clear, I've got the doctor's notes.
Yep.
I'm going to very quickly check. Can I use first aid to see if he's still breathing?
Sure, go ahead and give me a roll.
Or if he's passed? No, I failed first aid. Shit.
He's not moving.
I'm going to lean down. I'm going to say, whisper in his ear, like really quietly. Thank you, doctor. Your help was immeasurable. I'll even kiss his forehead.
Saucy.
And then I'm
going bitch cheating on me.
Then I'm going to go out the window with as much haste as possible and try to get around to wherever I think my car would be. Get the fuck out of Dodge.
You run across the grounds. This session was a little bit later into the evening, so the sun is already beginning to go down, and you run through the woods just beyond. You keep running all the way until you make it back to the observatory.
Oh shit, I'm here in town?
Oh yes, this was just Arkham.
Oh my god, I thought I was driving away. They're going to fucking find me. They're going to know where I am. This is not the way about it.
I mean, we can change stuff. Do you want to be in a different city?
I want to go to town because I didn't want these yokels finding me.
I just assumed they should be at face value when they said, when you said that you were going to go with friends.
Well, yes, I wanted to like, go to a friend out of town and literally go out of town.
Oh, okay. Well, let's
That's
say...
why they follow me. That's
Yeah,
my problem.
give me a city. What city would you have gone to? We need to know where you can't go back to.
Yeah, yeah. Where would be a good? Where are we right now? Arkham?
Probably somewhere in Florida.
Boston.
Well, we're within driving distance. Like
Somewhere in New Jersey, because everything's literally New
there's
Jersey.
Boston.
so-
Boston's a big city. Things could get lost in Boston. Can I go to Boston?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll go get mental help in Boston.
You go and you hotwire your car as soon as you get off the ground. You drive.
Should I have my keys?
Oh, of course not. You left them there.
I'm like cursing myself as I'm doing like, why don't you get your keys first? I'm like answering myself. Like, there's a fool. You can't go too fast. You can't just fucking kill a man and not expect consequences.
Johnny would have figured this out in the beginning.
Well, give me a drive auto roll. Oh, jeez.
Hey, a regular success.
Okay. You spend a little bit of time trying to hotwire the city. You get going, and soon you're driving through the night.
Yeah.
At the end of the 4th month, James still has not arrived. You hope to see from him soon, hear from him soon, but things have progressed kind of nicely. Society,
Someone named Dad.
the society has had an influx of cash, and you've been able to start fixing things up. What will be the priorities of the society? What do they want to try to do with some of that money?
That I go to Dottie for.
Probably pay our employees, so you know.
I mean, that too. But, like, I mean, Dottie, I don't know. What do you think is priority?
Well, it'd be nice to convert the upstairs into more living arrangements so we're not all squatting in the same bunk room.
This
Okay.
bedroom.
Yes, but they're not here.
Actually, nice ones.
No, the way I have it pictured, we can picture
I
it.
think Domino's.
Like private quarters, the original structure of the building had like galleries almost, and we all kind of like converted one of those galleries into like a bed space for ourselves. But it offers some privacy, but no more privacy than you would have in like a boarding house. So converting the upstairs, I think, to like an actual
Living space.
like, suite of apartments for us would be nice. Maybe with, like common kitchen and dining areas and stuff. But like each apartment would have their own like bedroom and like sitting area and kind of tailored to whatever we need. Like Dottie's would have a lot of like book space, whereas Anna's may not.
No, Emma would do. She wants to work in a library under personal
Oh,
library.
okay. You know, Charles would have like a dark room, for example, or
I have a significant wardrobe.
yes,
There you
and
go.
like displays for your trophies and whatnot.
I don't have my own kids.
Well, no, but you could probably like also.
There's laws about that in America.
On the 20s, there wasn't.
Not in the 20s. You could do anything in the 20s, especially if you had money.
Except drink.
Except drink, but that's what speakeasies are for. So we would all have like a space around the Nemo Leonard Event Horizon Theater, aptly named, because that needs to stay.
That's it.
And then we would like maintain sort of the air of mystery and maybe not wealth, but some level of like grandiose for the public areas like the ballroom and like the observation terraces, planetarium, that sort of thing. Make it that thing where people want to go to kind of engage in mysteriousism.
What kind of symbology do you start to employ to maintain that mysticism?
Lots of constellation work, but probably looping in like some tentacle type symbology.
Why?
I literally dug one out of a corpse, and you're not here.
Now you're into it. Now you're into it, girl.
So the society's private quarters, where they are now, would be converted into an open area space so that the telescope can be accessed by the layman, and then the upstairs would become kind of our private shit. And I imagine there's like a basement area, which would be like lab, mortuary, morgue, that sort of thing.
And what are the artifacts that you've been finding? Where are those being kept?
Involved in the basement.
So you built some sort of vault safe room kind of thing. What keeps people from getting in?
Heavy scary. Like heavy doors, vault doors, to get down.
Okay, we're hiring people. I'm what you're saying. I'm what you're saying.
Yeah, like heavy
The more
vault
people here, the
doors,
better.
Multiple locking stages, some sort of misdirection type situation, like a bigger version of a safe behind a painting.
And puzzle boxes.
Yeah, somehow
the keys in them.
we made an escape room in the basement, but it's just
Basically
us.
making an evil wizard's lair for them.
Yes.
Jeff.
There's paintings with hidden switches behind them. They just put them in the right order. A wall open.
Eyes that
That's
won't
a
follow
good
you.
poke eyes. You actually hope somebody that's on the other side of the wall watching you.
It's like erotic art that you have to like manipulate in order to get it open.
Now the food goes here.
Oh gosh.
All right, so this is something.
It's coming to me. Charles, after your indefinite insanity there, how have you been coping over the last month or so?
Oh, not great. The one sanity remaining, I feel like. He's just like, he's jumpy. Everything startles him.
Your sanity is 1?
I have one sanity remaining, yeah. Everything is bad. The end of the world is right around the corner, and Charles is just helpless to stop it. Yeah, he's just living every day knowing that he probably won't wake up tomorrow.
With that, he can add 2 points of sanity back. But
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I would like you to figure out a way to track that. His new thoughts about the impending apocalypse.
Yeah.
James,
Yes.
you arrive back to Arkham. 7 points of sanity, Richard.
That's
There he
what
goes.
Therapy, murder, you know, that's
Well, the murder you feel like it was justified because he was clearly writing about you in ways that were not doctorly.
I didn't like the way you questioned me, frankly. I remind me about you.
I feel like you are just a me.
It's at this point where, once again, now James, having just arrived in the early hours of the morning,
Is nobody up yet?
I would think that's sure. Nobody's up yet. Yeah, why don't we say that?
Do I see the questionable art choices?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They've clearly put some work into this while you've been gone.
Why?
You
Why are
even
there
see
tentacle
old
paintings?
posters about the gala.
I'm going to go to my secret spot and see if my idol's still there.
It is. He's still there.
You have my room now.
I will add that Bobby also realized the idol was missing. And I'll say Emma did as well. I mean, it's very hard to miss. Especially in all the construction.
Yes, I think we would have had like a plinth or some sort of case prepared for it that was in the safe room. And the fact that no one can locate it now is quite concerning.
Jeremy has his character go back to his room, and a couple of hours go by, and just as everybody seems to be getting up for the day, there's another knock at the door. Who goes answer it?
Hey, if nobody goes home, that's probably better.
Yes.
If we were up, I would go.
I feel, let's go, who has, what's your movement rate there, James?
Mine?
Yep. very
Ooh,
bottom right-hand corner.
8.
Dottie?
9.
Oh, with that limp!
I've been working on it.
I didn't know you were so spry.
So Dottie gets to the door, and just as she's
explains the
about to open
tentacles.
it, she looks backwards and she sees James walking towards the doorway.
You're home. Like, go and give him a hug.
That's awkward.
That's fine. Just accept it.
Don't answer the door.
Why not?
I had a bit of a wild time while I was away, and I fear that the authorities may be looking for me.
What did you do? Did you blow up a building?
No, my dear, I did not blow up a building.
Did you kill someone?
No. Come on. Do I look capable of that?
You were in the war.
We're not in the war, Dottie.
I feel like we are in some ways.
What's with the tentacle art?
Oh, I have the most magnificent thing to show you as soon as we get rid of the... I'm assuming a salesperson on our door.
I look at the door, I'm like, I don't think it's that.
Alright, well, I go and look out the peephole.
If she goes to the door, I make myself scarce. If I can find a... Like, as long as they haven't locked the place down so hard that I can't even get to, like, the kitchen to get tea or anything like that.
James makes himself scarce. When Dottie looks through the peephole, she sees an officer waiting at the door.
This is why you don't drink in Mexico, people.
Fortunate. I just kind of... Like, I'm still in my bedrobe.
Here, I just killed my husband, bro.
No, it's not that fancy. It's not like the see-through with the frilly. It's just like a simple house coat and like over nighty and slippers, and Roxy's kind of like chilling by my side.
Flannel. Nothing says I'm not available like flannel.
It's not flannel. She's stylish. It would be like a satin or a silk. So she'll put one foot behind the door and open it into her foot. So it's just like a little crack, but she can see the officer. Oh, hello.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry to knock in so early, but it's kind of urgent. I'm looking for a Dr. Dottie Hamilton.
Oh well, my dear, you found her. What can I do for you?
Ma'am, I'm not really sure. There's been mutterings around that you might have some mortuary experience with strange things.
I mean, I've seen many a strange thing across my table. What's your name, officer?
He says that his name is Officer. Sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry. I actually had this last. Officer Fredericks. Sorry.
Fredericks.
Yeah.
In which department are you with?
I'm with Arkham, just downtown.
York Morgue.
Yeah, man, we had a murder last night, and it's real strange. Our coroner claims he's never seen anything like this.
Strange how?
And he really hesitates long. He says, amphibious
Like gills.
and real bulbous looking eyes.
Trying to remember the name of the... I need a zoologist, not a forensic scientist.
You think so, man? But this is on a very human-looking person. I think I'm gonna need you to come with me downtown to see it yourself.
Give me the address, and I'll meet you down. I haven't even made it to this one yet, so give me a few moments. I'll go clean up, get a driver, and meet you downtown.
Yeah, no, of course. I'll give me a psychology roll.
45... No, fail.
Yeah, he seems really shaken. You're not really sure what's going on, but he is. You imagine he had more composure than what he's showing.
Okay.
And he says, you take your time. I'll be downtown waiting just whenever you get a chance. I'm going home today.
Okay, Officer Fredericks. I'll meet you at the mortuary. I'll be on my way most likely in about an hour.
Yeah, appreciate it. He walks off back to his car and drives away.
As soon as he's like office too, I like close the door and like slip all the locks into place, even the ones that are kind of like hidden. I feel like we've got like some, Da Vinci Code cipher shit with an extra lock. All right, James, you can come out now.
Half hour to lock the door.
Yeah,
I come with a rifle.
oh, for heaven's sake. Everything's fine. What you did seems to be off the radar of the local authority anyway.
For now.
Cash jump class what you did.
Good morning, though.
Good morning. Good to have you back. Would you like some tea?
Yes.
Go and pour the spot tea. And then I go wake up Emma and Charles, if they're not awake yet. And Wiley if she's about.
I've been
here all the
here
time.
I've been here the whole time.
We've had some
I think-
disease for the last 4 months.
A TV war, that's fine.
Bit of a portal.
I think I would take Wiley with me, just because she's. I'm not. You're a little bit of a high profile. I need something low profile, so Wiley I would bring as my assistant. Just because I feel like she could slip away and poke around if need be.
You drive off with Wiley to the station, leaving the observatory just with James, Charles, and Emma. Give them one last chance before we close things out. Is there any sort of interaction between those three, or pairs or such?
I mean, I would hug. Things came back, or when it back anyways. Well, about time you got here. How was your trip?
Better
Look
than
like
our
hell.
poses. I feel pretty good.
I didn't have much to do with art choices.
Like we're fighting fish people and you put tentacles all over the place?
It wasn't me. I just paid for it.
It was
apparently.
Doctor. It was-
Look, she's very hard to say no to.
And we've not extorted or blackmailed anywhere.
No, I
Help.
threw a party. That's what I'm good at.
Oh, goody.
No.
I gotta see if I can have a moment with my guy pal.
Please, a friend, your guide.
Good guy.
Charles looking in rough shape.
I just grabbed some coffee and walked out of my room.
Make a what? Psychology roll.
Why is there a bag shoved under the door?
You got it free.
Psychology?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No, I have 10% psychology. I don't get psychology.
I haven't showered in a while, but you don't really know anything other than that.
God, Charles, take a pass.
Yeah, it's rough deal.
Make sure none of the women around.
I want to go back to my room with coffee. Put myself together for the day.
Listen, your order.
Yeah.
So, let me show you something, right? Let's say you found out that someone was like in a conspiracy.
Okay.
And just hear me out here, right?
Yeah.
And they die.
Okay. We'll be so far.
But they know that the killer knows about the conspiracy.
Right.
Do you think conspirators would send someone to get him for killing the other person that was in the conspiracy?
It probably depends how high up in the conspiracy the original conspirator was. Well, the conspiratee or the murderer. Like, you know, it's just
The murderer's not a conspiracy. He's,
Okay, okay.
he's a decent, like, good shot.
Gotcha. Okay, his looks probably don't factor into it. Yeah, no, it would probably depend on how high profile the conspirator is, and if there's conflicting conspiracies up there.
Okay, Chucky, I'm gonna level with you. I did not lose a friend. I checked myself into a coupon.
Well, I applaud you for taking care of yourself.
The boys back home. Never mind. Anyway, so I'm spilling my knowledge to this shrink.
Yeah.
This silliness.
Alright.
And look at his notes, man. And I'll show Chuck the notes.
Now,
He knows.
I'm
He's referring to
sure-
me. He's referring to me. I know, but he knows.
this doesn't seem like regular notes, it seems conspiracy-y.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
well,
I found it. I found it was this. I cold pop him. Put him right on the floor.
Nice.
And then I made him eat a bunch of drugs and alcohol.
effective.
Technically, didn't know.
I'm pretty sure he's dead, Chuck.
But what we can do is I can write up a story about how he was involved with some unsavory people.
That'd be more than just here.
When we release it, then people will read it and
Understood
they'll be
him.
like, yeah, exactly. Assume him. And when we release it, then it'll sound like he got mixed up with some bad people. Maybe make it sound like mob or like mafia or something. And then it won't point to you as much. It'll sound like he just got in over his head or something.
They like checked me. I actually started me. I didn't intend to make him eat this little salad that I made for him.
Yeah.
Didn't you though?
It was all about board at first. Went sideways at some point.
Charles, make me a sanity roll.
Come on!
With your
I fail. I don't even know why I roll.
There you
It's 3 at the moment.
You
Can
don't
I
lose
assist
anything.
him? Can I
Oh.
assist him? I'm right here with him, holding his hand, maybe.
You don't lose anything. Was writing this. Was in some deeply cultish stuff.
Fuck, are you okay? You look a little...
Look, this stuff that's in here, it sounds like he knew about the stuff that we're
Yes.
dealing with.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So what if he's like in on it? Like not just aware of it like we are, but like
Like
in
a,
on it.
like a cultist or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. So maybe we should go back and burn down the whole asylum.
I mean, we could blow up another building, I guess.
Well, put the doctor on it. She's good at it.
There's a lot of innocent, well, hopefully innocent people in there. Maybe the whole thing is corrupt.
Maybe there's fishmen in the basement there, Chuck.
I mean, we could go back and investigate.
I'm on a bit of an upturn. I feel like I can...
You're feeling better?
I'm not going to lie to you. I had some bad dreams while I was there.
Yeah.
Have you had anyone talking to you in your dreams yet?
No one talking to me in my dreams, but I found a book I'll show you later. It talks about the statue.
Where did you find it?
I found it at the university.
Wait a minute. It talks about my It talks about my statue?
Yeah, I think it's important, man. Like, I'll show you it later.
Well, listen, I'm going to leave these notes with you.
Okay.
Don't tell the girls.
No, that's crazy.